All right, so on the review, I'm not going to write everything down. You should be able to follow along okay, but this is just kind of the information in the order that it's on there. First off, domain and range of this first one, this is discrete, so it's all separate points. So when you list the domain and range, domain goes from least to greatest, and it's in order, and you don't put any repeats. Here's the domain, here's the range. Is it a function? No. Why is it not a function? It repeats x's. On number 2, f of x equals x squared plus 2. This is just to pay attention to what you're doing. 3 squared is 9 plus 2 is 11. Negative 6 squared is a positive 36 plus 2 is 38. On number 3, vertical line test. I just drew it. If we draw a vertical line and it touches once, yay, it's a function. If we draw a vertical line and it touches twice, boo, it's not a function. How sad. On number 4, domain and range and interval and set notation. I did this one here on the left. I did 4. Since there's 2 separate parts of my graph, I have to have 2 parts of my interval notation connected by a union symbol, or I have to have 2 parts of my set notation with the word or between them. Don't get this confused with a discrete graph. It's not. It's a continuous graph. The line is connected on the left side. The line is connected on the right side. It's continuous. When I do range, it's continuous. It's least to greatest. The negative 3 is a parenthesis because it's an open circle, non-inclusive. The 2 is a bracket because it's a filled-in dot. It's inclusive. Same thing on the domain. Parenthesis for non-inclusive, bracket for inclusive, less than for non-inclusive, equal to for inclusive. Make sure you know the difference between the interval and the set notation. When it's straight through like this and it has boundaries between instead of being separate parts, it's actually much easier in the interval notation. Negative 3 on the left-hand side, non-inclusive, 2 on the right-hand side, inclusive. So in set, it'd be negative 3 is less than x, which is less than or equal to 2. And then on the interval notation, parenthesis negative 3, bracket around the 2, and you're done. Okay? Down at the bottom, comparing these graphs, you have a graphing calculator. You can literally type these into the graphing calculator and compare them, and that would be perfectly acceptable. However, I know that this minus 3 is a k value and it's the only thing that changes. If my k value is subtracting 3, it's going down 3. On this one, the up 2 units is a k value. That's plus 2 outside the absolute value. The left one is an h value, and h does the opposite. It's plus 1. On number 8, parent function is y is equal to the absolute value of x. The plus 3 means it's going left 3. The minus 4 means it's going down 4. All of our transformations on our transformation page was as compared to the parent function. So just be aware of that. On 9, 10, 11, and 12, I seriously didn't bother to put anything. On all of them, it has a b value. So you're going to put your h value over your b value, and then put your k value, and that's your vertex. My h value here would be a minus 1. I put that over a minus 3. That's a positive 1/3. My k value is 2. On this one, a minus 4, because it's the opposite, over a minus 2. Negative divided by a negative is positive. 4 divided by 2 is 2. The k value is a negative 3. On this one, it's a minus 1 over 2. That's a negative 1/2. And the plus 3 stays a plus 3. On this one, the negative 3 becomes a positive 3. Positive 3 divided by negative 3 is negative 1. And the negative 3 is still a negative 3. To get the rest of these values, I would probably just suggest to you, rather than have to input all of them, if you're looking for the table of values, if you're looking for the graph of this and not just the vertex, you can find it in the calculator. Now be careful of becoming overly reliant on the calculator, because these ones with the fractional values, you can't find that on the table unless you make changes to your table, which is a lengthy process. That's pretty involved to remember how to do all that. However, if you want to type this in the calculator, it's not a big deal. Don't look at my password, oh no. You can't see it anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, technology. Here's my technology. So I want to play with my calculator. Here's my calculator. All I've got to do, I'm just going to control dock. I'm adding a graph. Way up here at the top, I'm going to pick one of these and I'm going to do number 9 because it's the one that has the weird vertex. So I've got -2 out front, and then this button over here by the 9 is the menu that contains the absolute value. Mine's highlighted because it's the last thing I used. I hit enter. Inside my absolute value I have a -3x plus 1. I move to the right to get out of my absolute value, and then I add 2. You can see why we did this in Desmos, because it's a lot quicker in Desmos, but you can do the same thing here, and there it is. And the advantage this one has to Desmos is Control T. There's my table. And I can just scroll up and down this all day, fill in all my values, know exactly where they are. Okay? Go with the whole numbers. Don't bother trying to put in fractions, even though the vertex is a fraction. All right? Down at the bottom of this page, -2 squared is 4, and then 4 times -2 is -8. So that's 4 minus 8 is a -4. On this one, 4 times 2 is 8 plus 4 is 12. -4 times -4 is 16 plus 2 is 18. -3 times 8 is -24 minus 4 is -28. Down at the bottom, I put this. This is the x minus 1 subbed in there. My work's actually over on the sideboard. You can see what it comes up to. Not really important. There's a couple ways that you can work around this. And the workaround for it, if you've still been consistently getting this wrong, would be to graph this that we have here, and then graph each of the answers because it's a multiple choice test. And whichever graph from the answers matches this graph setup, that's the correct answer. Really simple. Either that, or you can take a number as long as it's not 1 or 0. Like put a 5 in here, see what you get, and then put a 5 in all the answers for x and see which one is going to come out right. That's your right answer. Multiple choice math is glorious because all the answers are right there. On 18, I went ahead and put my work here, even though it's silly. Like it's a -t, so squared it comes up the same. And then a -t times a -2 gives you a plus 2t. On the last page of this bad boy. First off, up here at the top, number 19, this is a discrete graph. Since this is a discrete graph, we list the x values in order, we list the y values in order, and we've got it. Yeah, you're in the wrong class. Have a nice afternoon. You're on a video now. Way to go. Okay, I'm just going to list them. I don't connect the dots. It's a discrete graph. Okay, a list of the x values, a list of the y values, and the y values, I'm not going to repeat them, even though the y values repeat. 1, 2, 5. I'm done. Okay, on this one, absolute value of x is this graph. This is that plus 2. Absolute value of x, that's 2. The vertex, 7, 0, it's 7 to the right. -5 thirds, 0, and this is 5 thirds to the left. It's reflected because of the -a. On this one, it's a vertical stretch because of the 2. It's up 3 because of the k value. On this one, it's left 4 because of the h value. It's down 1 because of the k value, and it's -4, -1 for the vertex. Down here at the bottom, I'm not even worried about that. Put them in. Put them in and solve them. It's not like it's a big deal. Just make sure that when you get to ones like here on what's numbered as number 30, make it a parenthetical expression. This is why we missed so many of these on the quiz, is because you didn't treat it like it was supposed to be its own separate thing. Same thing over here. F of -3, when you put it in, -3 times 2 is -6 minus 1 is -7. And then the -5 over here, -5 squared is a positive 25. 2 minus 25 is a -23. These are parenthetical, and I'm supposed to subtract. 7 minus a -23 is the same, or sorry, -7 minus a -23 is -7 plus 23, which is a positive 16. If you don't type it into the calculator right, it's going to give you the wrong answer. If you don't work it out right, it's going to give you the wrong answer. Think about your steps and what you are supposed to do. Okay? The test is going to be over all this stuff tomorrow. I'd say, judging from what I've seen so far, spend a lot of time with your cheat sheet trying to figure out the A, the B, the H, and the K, because there's not really going to be that much help for that on the quiz, aside from sitting there and graphing every single one of them out. And there's 25 questions. You probably won't have time to sit there and type in and graph everything. Like, you should be able to finish it during class. Okay? Hopefully this video helps you out, and we'll see you back here for the test.